Greetings, this is Wanda. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome back to the channel. Life at 50, starting over at 50, Life in Africa. My name is Wanda, and I wanted to do a video today because I wanted to I want to share with you the day that I cried at work. Out of all the jobs I've ever had, I've never cried at work. But this one particular time, I wanted to share it with you. I actually cried at work due to discrimination. So this is another way, a way you will know that these corporate jobs, these jobs in America, they're not for us. The way they treat us, the things they say to us. But of course, we have to work the job because we have to make a living. But I actually wanted to share this story with you because I keep thinking about this time, which makes me actually grateful to the Father, to the uncreated creator, to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So I'm so grateful to him because he actually rescued me. He rescued me, y'all. He saved me out of the pit. Well, at least it seemed like a pit, right? So let me tell you what happened. I used to work for a law firm, okay? So in this law firm, the department that I was working in the Social Security department. So I used to help people, really veterans, like retired veterans, get their Social Security disability, through the help them get their disability. So we would do that, help them get their Social Security disability. So, or just anybody for that matter. But it was a lot of veterans that was there trying to get theirs, but there are regular people also. But I was just trying to help them get their Social Security benefits because they were either injured some kind of way or discharged from the military or whatever, right? So that department that I was in, they downsized that department, and I had to move to the personal injury department. So, I moved to that department, and when I moved to that department, I had to be a kind of like an assistant. I had to be an assistant there because that was the only position that was available to assist the case managers in that department. Now in the Social Security department, I was an actual case manager, and I had like 200 something cases. So I've had experience. At that point, I had a lot of experience working on cases, over 200 cases, and I think I had been there over a year at that point, year and a half. So I go into the personal injury department. That's kind of where they moved me because they got rid of the whole department and everybody had to move to different areas, right? So they moved me to the personal injury department, and I'm thinking I'm going to be a case manager just like I was in the Social Security department. Well, the only opening they had was for an assistant, so they moved me into that position. So I kept my pay and everything, so that was a good thing. So then when I moved there, I was working there, I was training, I learned everything, assisting the case managers, answering phones and all that. Like the assistant is like the receptionist in for that department. Basically, you route all the calls, you fill up the paper holder, you do certain things for the case managers, you assist them out, request medical records, different stuff, right? So there had came a time where there was going to possibly be an opening for a case manager in that actual department. So I was kind of excited. I was like, yes, it's my opportunity to move to be a case manager. Then at that point, I can get more money, blah, blah, blah. So they moved another lady into the department. So I'm under the impression that that other lady was going to be the assistant. And so they had me training her on how to, what the assistant does. So I'm training, thinking I am going to be the one to get that opening in the personal injury department, the case manager position. So I'm training her, white young woman who has never been a case manager before. She moved from like the intake department where you sign people up at the law firm. So she moved from that department into our department. So I'm training her. So we have a meeting so we can discuss the different move arounds, the different positions. So I'm in the meeting. We're all in the meeting. Everybody in the personal injury department, we're all in the meetings. And so they announced that the opening for case manager, they gave it to the lady I was training, the white lady I was training. And so after they said that, it's like everything got quiet in my mind. Like I couldn't hear anything else anybody was saying. It was just that was my focus. I'm like, basically they passed me over and gave it to her because I have experience she didn't, and I was training her. So it was just like they used it as kind of a cover to have me training her, make me think that I was going to get the position when they was going to give it to her. And I was definitely more qualified because I had been already a case manager for a year and a half, and she had never been one. So they offered it to her. And when I say I was hurt, y'all, when I say I was hurt, and then I looked around at everybody's faces, I think I was the only black at that time. I was the only black, not the only minority, because our supervisor was like Hispanic, but I was the only black person. And when I say I was hurt, I was looking around at everybody's faces and they were super excited for her. They was like, congratulations. Oh, congratulations. And so I couldn't even bring myself to say congratulations. I was just, I was just like speechless. I was speechless. I couldn't even say a word. I was just in shock. And so after the meeting, we talking how things going to go. She's going to move to her desk. All the details about what she's going to do and all this. So when I say it was like I was devastated. I was just so hurt and I was just so shocked. So after I was speechless, and it's crazy because I felt like the way they acted, it's like everybody knew what was going to happen except for me. It's like they had this private meeting to say it's like they knew. It's like everybody was just, they did not act shocked. They didn't. I feel like everybody knew that I wasn't going to get it, but me. I'm the only one that didn't know that I was not going to get this position. Everybody else nobody was shocked. Like, wow, I can't believe they gave it to her over you. No, nobody said that. They were just like normal, like. And I'm thinking, did they already know this? I was so disturbed, y'all. So after the meeting, I was so filled with emotion. My attitude wasn't right. So I was like, let me just go to this bathroom, get my attitude right, because I was shocked, I was hurt, I was angry, and I was just in disbelief. And I couldn't, you got to put on a face when you work in corporate America and you work around all these white people, all these other people. You have to present yourself a certain way. So yeah, that other side that they don't want to see was right there on the forefront, and I had to go get myself together. So I went to the restroom, and I was in that. As soon as I closed that door, y'all, tears just start streaming down my face. I was just so full of emotion, and I was just so hurt and in disbelief, and just I felt like they just betrayed me. Like I was just hurt. And every time I blinked, tears were rolling, and I could not stop crying. And it wasn't like I was like making the sound like, when you cry, I wasn't even doing that. It was just like I was so full of hurt, and just I felt so betrayed, and I was just so devastated that every time I blinked, tears were just rolling. And I could not stop the tears from flowing, y'all. I could not stop the tears from flowing. I had to talk to myself, and I was like, stop it. I had to tell myself, stop, Wanda, stop crying, stop it, because I couldn't stay in the restroom and just cry. So I had to stop. I had to stop myself from crying. I had to talk to my mind, stop it, just stop crying, just stop it. And then at that point, I knew that, yeah, I'm leaving here. I'm gonna look for me another job. So that was after, I talked myself into stop it. Like I have never cried like that, but I felt so betrayed. I felt so hurt. I never felt so hurt in my life. At any job, I never felt so hurt. And I was just, yeah, I was feeling like almost like devastated. Like I was so hurt. And so I had to talk to myself, stop it, stop crying, pull yourself together. I had to tell myself, pull yourself together. And so I was like, just, I had to talk to myself, just look for another job. Just going, just start looking for another job. So, okay, cleaned myself up, went back to my desk and got back to work. And then I just started my job search. And if not that day, the very next day, I had a friend a friend was telling me about another job at Ford Motor Company. And it was Ford Motor Credit Company. And I used to work for Ford Motor Company years ago. And so my friend worked at Ford Motor Credit Company, and she was telling me they paid good and they got openings, you should apply. She had been telling me, and I just never done it. But then after that happened, I was like, I'm going to apply. So I went online at work, went online, and I saw that they had an opening. I applied. That day, at the end of the day, I got a response back, and they sent me a personality test, some kind of test, online test. So I got it that same day, and at the end of the day, I took this test at work. Next day, I come to work. They was like, "Can you come in for an interview?" I was just like, yeah. So I had to schedule an interview with them. This was like 2 days. The next day after I had the meeting, the next day, like 2 days after that, they was like, "Can you come in for an interview?" So I scheduled an interview somewhere, some weeks off, requested off of work, had my interview. And the pay was going to be like, I think at the time I was making like $12 an hour, and it was going to be double that. It was like I was going to be making like 20 something, 24. I was going to be making like, basically I was going to be making like 45,000 a year. At the law firm, I was making 25,000 a year. So this job was going to be making 45, and it was like double what I was making. So I was super excited. I was like, yeah, I can use that money. So had the interview, seemed like everything went well. And then the third day, it happened just this fast. The third day, they offered me the job. And it was like, you have 6 months training. You have to be there every single day, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, yeah. That next week, y'all, I was putting in my 2-week notice. The next week, y'all, I was putting my 2-week notice. And when I think back on it, I know that was God. I know that was the Most High. I know that was the uncreated Creator. He was there for me. He was there to bless me. It's like He just pulled me out of that place so quick. And what satisfaction it was for me. So because it happened so fast, they had to know why I was quitting, because it was right after we had that meeting and they gave that job to that other lady. Then the following week, I was given like my 2-week notice. If it wasn't that following week, it was the next week. It was within that time frame where they knew that I was not happy with that place. So it was so nice to give a 2-week notice, and then for them to announce in the monthly meeting that Wanda's leaving us and she's going to this company. I told them where I was going for, motor company, and she's leaving. She's going to Ford Motor Company, one of the only blacks in that law firm. So the way they face looked, yeah, they was looking crazy. But yeah, it was just like I was standing there with pride at that point. It was like I got my moment, the moment that you stole from me. I got my moment back. So when I say I was standing there with my head held high, and plus knowing I was going to be going from 25,000 a year to 45,000. Oh yeah, I held my head up high. I was like, yeah. See, this is what you do when you don't value someone. And a lot of the people that leave, they will offer them a counter offer for them to stay. Of course, they didn't offer me that because they was not going to match what I was making. Not to somebody black. So they didn't offer a counter offer, which even if they did, I wouldn't have taken it because, Ford had better benefits as well. And, it's a Fortune 500 company, Ford. Yeah, I'm not going to turn that down for nothing. And so that is my story of the day I cried at work and how the Father heard my cries. He felt my hurt, and He blessed me, which was the way that I was able to travel. To have 401k to save, and the money that I needed to come to Africa to visit, to travel, and do all the things that I've been doing here in Africa, where I've been now this year for 5 years. It's because of the job that I had, the good benefits, and all that. So yeah, the Father will bless you and put you in places that no man can move you out of. If it's in His will for you to move somewhere or to accomplish certain things, He will open doors for you. He'll close doors that's it's not meant for you to walk through, but then He'll open doors that's meant for you to walk through, that plan that He has for you in order to bless you. He can do that for you. So I wanted to share that, kind of like a testimony of the day I cried at work. So anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I wanted to share that because that story keeps coming to my mind, and it was so supernatural that I know that the Father heard my cries. That they say He counts every tear that we cry. He counts them. He sees them and He counts them, and He knows the tears that you cry. He catches them. He catches them, not counts them. He catches the tears that you cry, and so they mean a lot to Him. So yeah, I just wanted to share this, and I'll do another video in the next couple of days. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, thumbs up, and I'll do another video in the next couple of days. See you in the next one.